The flood had come in silence. No thunder, no warning, just the slow, rising sound of water claiming what used to belong to air. By morning, the valley was gone. Roofs floated like broken leaves. Fences had turned into lines of driftwood. And somewhere in that brown, endless water, a dog swam. His name was Rocco. He wasn't a trained rescue dog, not a soldier, not a hero. He was just a farm dog, the kind that chased ducks and barked at rain. But that morning, he saw the truck tip over, heard his owner's voice shouting one last time, and then nothing. When the waters swallowed the fields, Rocco climbed onto a floating door, trembling, soaked, but eyes wide open. He could still smell the scent. Soap, smoke, the faint trace of the hand that fed him every dawn. So he jumped. For 3 days, he drifted, riding the current that wound through villages and forests, his paws sometimes paddling, sometimes resting. People saw him from boats and bridges. Some waved, some threw him food, but he never turned to them. He just followed the water. Nose low, ears forward, like the river itself was whispering directions. On the 4th day, the current carried him to a bend where debris piled high, a place where the flood slowed and the air smelled of rot and oil. There, Rocco found a child's shoe tangled in reeds. He sniffed it, whimpered softly, then pushed it back into the current, as if sending it home. He walked along the bank, each step leaving a paw print that filled instantly with muddy water. Sometimes he stopped, lifting his head to the sound of helicopters. But then the sky went quiet again. A week passed. The water receded, leaving behind wreckage and silence. Rocco had grown thinner, his fur caked with mud. He slept beneath broken bridges, drank from puddles that tasted like iron. But every morning, when the sun rose and lit the river like a path of fire, he stood, stretched, and kept walking, because somewhere ahead he could still smell that faint, familiar scent. On the 10th day, he reached a stretch of forest where the current split, one branch wide and calm, the other narrow and wild. He hesitated only once, then turned toward the wilder one. The path was harsh, sharp rocks, fallen trees, the smell of dead fish and wet bark. But the river's voice grew clearer there, and Rocco followed it like a thread pulled through time. At night, he curled up on cold stones, his body shivering, dreaming of the small wooden porch where he used to wait. In his sleep, he could still feel a hand resting on his head, the voice saying, "Stay close." By the 12th day, he had crossed into the outskirts of another town, one barely standing after the flood. He limped through alleyways lined with wrecked boats and broken signs. People stopped to look.
It's okay,
Someone
little
offered
one.
him bread. Another took a photo, but he didn't stop. He could smell something stronger now. Something real. That afternoon, a rescue worker named Mara found him near the collapsed riverbank. She noticed the torn collar, the tag half buried in dried mud. It read only, Farm 12, north of the ridge. "That's 15 kilometers upstream," she whispered. She filled a bowl with water and crouched. "Hey, boy, you came from there?" Rocco drank, then turned, looking upriver again, tail twitching, ready to move. Mara frowned. "You're not done yet, huh?" She followed him
searching for
just to
someone.
see where he'd go. They walked for hours, past flattened barns, past the wreck of a tractor half buried in sand, past a tree whose branches still held a child's kite. Every few minutes, Rocco stopped, sniffed the air, and moved again, always beside the river. When they reached the ridge at sunset, Mara stopped. The land opened wide below, fields still wet, a farmhouse leaning sideways, and beside it a figure in a yellow raincoat waving weakly. Mara gasped. The man was alive, barely standing, but alive. Rocco barked once sharp, urgent, then ran. Mud splashed beneath his paws as he bounded down the slope, tail whipping, ears flat against the wind. He crashed into the man's knees, whining, pawing at him, burying his face in the man's soaked jacket. The man dropped to his knees, arms shaking, and whispered through cracked lips, "You found me, boy." Mara reached them, tears cutting tracks through the dirt on her face. She radioed for help, but for a long moment, neither man nor dog heard her. They just stayed like that, two survivors breathing the same air again. Later, as the rescue team arrived, Mara noticed the river curving behind them, gold under the last light of day, its current gentle now, as if the water itself had finished its own journey too. She looked down at Rocco, who lay beside his owner, eyes half closed, finally still. "You followed the river," she whispered, "and it brought you home." That night, they carried the man to the ambulance, and Rocco curled at his feet.
He's a fighter.
The sound of the river faded behind them, replaced by engines, and the slow hum of rain starting
How are you
again.
feeling today, sir?
In the distance, the river ran on, wide, quiet, and alive, carrying stories only dogs could hear.